Now, that's what he means. Then he says, it is not good. Again, put yourself back in time when this is taking place. The world is perfect. The angels are all holy. There are no demons. There's no devil. There's no curse on the earth. Everything is perfect. God then turns around and he makes one of the strangest statements in all the Bible. It is not good that yeah, Adam. Eve was not there. Adam was by himself. It is not good that Adam should be what? Alone. Now, here's another question for you. If Adam was perfect at this time, because he had no sin, so he was perfect. He was in perfect communion with his creator. How in the world could Adam be lonely? Why would it be necessary for Adam to have a companion, a helper? He's perfect, friends. How do you add to perfection? I, God, will make him what? A helper. Now, listen to God very carefully. This helper must be comparable to him. He must be comparable to Adam. Let me ask you a question. Is Eve comparable to Adam? No, friends. Not based on what that word means in the Bible. He must be like Adam. What does that mean? He has to be sinless. Adam at this time was sinless. God has to be responsible for him coming into the world. He has to be a man. How do I know? Because in other parts of the book, God turns around and he explains this helper part. Then he takes his time to explain the comparable part. Then God actually named the helper that's comparable. He calls him the second Adam. That second Adam is comparable to the first Adam. Is the helper Eve? No. God was looking beyond. God was looking at his plan. What is that? His attributes. He knew in order to reveal his attributes to the angels and to mankind, he was going to have to let both sin. God was looking beyond. Let me show you just one instance to prove it to you. I'm already here. All right. I'm just going to take this time. This is a much longer study, but I'm going to go to the end of that study to show you something. Watch. This is where God he finally tells us who he was talking about when he said a helper was coming and he was going to be responsible. I will make him a helper who is comparable to him. Listen to God. So also is the resurrection of the dead. Well, let's back up one. He starts talking about since from man came death, so also is the resurrection of the dead. The body, the original body, is sown. How? In corruption. It's raised in incorruption. It's sown in dishonor. It's raised in glory. It's sown in weakness. It's raised in power. Sown in a natural body. Sown a natural body. What kind of body did Adam have? He had a natural body. What kind of body do Adam have today? He has a spiritual body. What kind of body do you have today? A natural body out of dust. What kind of body are you going to get in everybody, whether you're a believer or unbeliever? When you die, you got to get a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body for everyone. And so it is written, listen to God explain what he was talking about, this helper for Adam. The first man, Adam, became what? Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, he became a living being. That's exactly what Genesis 2, verse 7 says. But listen to God. There is a second Adam. Who is he? He's the helper. The one who helps Adam with Adam's problem. How could a perfect man have a problem? God knew Adam was going to sin. And Adam was going to need help getting rid of his sin. How in the world was Eve going to help him? She can't. But Eve was necessary. Why? To bring in the second Adam, to give birth to the helper. Remember the promise to Eve, her seed? She would be saved how? Through childbearing. What child? The second Adam, the helper. This one became what? A life-giving spirit. Jesus, a spirit? Yes. The Spirit of God inside of the second man, Jesus. All right. That's however, the spiritual, that is Christ, is not first, but the first Adam, and afterwards Christ comes, the spiritual. The first man was of the earth, that is from the dust, made of dust. The second man, listen, the helper, the second Adam. What about him? He is the Lord. So who is Jesus Christ? He's the Lord. And where did he come from? From heaven. Did he come from the heavens with an S? No. Remember how the world is created and divided. Heaven, where only God resides. The heavens, where the body of the man, Christ Jesus, and the angels are, and the earth, where humans are. Where did Jesus come from? He came from here. He did not come from here. As was the man of dust, so also those who are made of dust. That is, you are just like Adam. Whatever Adam is, you are. As is also the heavenly man, so also are those and only those who are heavenly. So if you're a born again believer, you're going to be just like Jesus. All right. So there you have it. Now, let me go back so I can show you Eve. We got very long in that explanation. Apologies for that, folks. But it's good for people that don't know, never heard this kind of stuff. All right. So God says, hey, look, it's not good for Adam to be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him, talking about Jesus. Out of the ground, the Lord formed, listen, out of the ground, the Lord formed all these animals, right? And the birds and brought them. Now, this includes the insects and all this stuff. And he brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called each living creature, that was its name. So Adam gave names to all the cattle and to the birds of the air and every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a helper comparable to him. What is this all about? And where in the world are the fish? Have you read Leviticus? Have you read Exodus? In Numbers, Deuteronomy? Have you read those books? Watch. There are beasts and there are birds, right? What is that a representation of? The sacrifices. God gave Adam a command on how to sacrifice. Was fish allowed to be a sacrifice? No. In Leviticus, God gave the law, and he gave Moses and Aaron and said, hey, you guys ought to oversee the sacrifices. Were there any fish included in the sacrifices? No. Were there birds included in the sacrifice? Yes. So what were included? Beasts of the field and birds. So what was God preparing for? He was preparing for atonement. A temporary atonement for sin. That's why there's no fish mentioned here. The whole entire Bible is about Jesus Christ. It's about the reconciliation plan. This isn't just about some animals, friends. The animals represent the sacrifices. The help Adam was going to need until the Messiah comes. And when Adam looked at it, okay, and he gave name to all the cattle and the birds and the beasts of the field, but Adam could not find a helper comparable to him. Christ was not in the animal sacrifices. They were a type and shadow. It was impossible for the blood of bulls, goats, and birds to make a human sinless. Impossible. He had to get the helper who was comparable. And you can't get the helper from animals or from birds. So when Adam realized he was in trouble, that he couldn't get a helper from any of the things that God had made, then what did God do?